want to welcome everybody to the second edition of the Chomp, coming to you live from the Norm Ross Gymnasium at Escambia High School. And joining me this morning is Coach Mosley. Coach Mosley, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
And Coach, let's talk a little bit about things like the Invitational, first annual Trent Richardson Invitational, and just talk a little bit about the importance of having somebody like Trent still involved with the school and sponsoring things such as this great event we're having today.
It's just an amazing opportunity. You know, every school doesn't have an NFL player that's went there, and not only that, they don't have NFL players that will come and give their time. Not only just give money, but give time. And he does a lot of that. He cares for these kids. It's just an awesome blessing just to have him.
You know, and I don't think that the people outside of Escambia High School really understand what Trent does give back to the program. And it's not just the football program. Trent's giving back to softball, basketball, ladies basketball. I mean, it's covered under one big blanket for him. It's not, you know, I was a football player, so that's what I sponsor. And talk about the difference it's made for those programs, because, you know, if you don't sit in those school board meetings and you don't hear, you know, when they come back to you and say you have a $10,000 budget, but you got $40,000 worth of gear you need. You know, how important it is to have that pro athlete, or even just the community can get involved, you know, and help support the Gator program here.
It's amazing because, first of all, he made sure that every sport at Escambia has Nike uniforms. So that's just amazing to give the kids confidence. They look good, so they want to go out there and perform well. And just to know that they're
mic up. Alrighty. Well, you know, let's talk just a little bit about you have the Invitational going on behind us. Last weekend here we had the Step It Up Combine. You know, it seems like activities at Escambia is just not limited to the sports seasons anymore. And what does that do for keeping your kids active and out of trouble and off the streets? You know, that's always a concern with kids of this age level.
It's just great getting different exposure to different events, and just knowing where your kids are at, knowing that they're being active and they're doing the right thing. So it's a good way to keep an eye on them.
Well, you know, you guys are all new. We came in, you know, when I talked with Coach Spears last weekend, I called it a rebirth. It's a rebirth at Escambia. And you guys have this whole new mentality. And it's so fresh and it's new, and the kids really seem to enjoy it, and they've bought into the system. What do you contribute that to? Because when y'all came in, you really just you had to open the doors and just clean house, you know. And now, if you look at these kids behind us, you know, and what they're doing, you know, this is a Saturday morning, and they're here bright and early. They're competing in a weightlifting competition. But last weekend they were here bright and early to get ready for the football combine. How have you been able to get the kids to buy into what you guys are preaching?
I think, first of all, we practice what we preach. We call ourselves men of standard. We hold ourselves to a certain standard, and we hold the kids to that same standard. So, you know, we just live by that standard. We don't just preach it, we practice it, and they see that it's not a gimmick. That's the way we actually are every day.
Now, how hard is it to go in and out of this community? Because the Myrtle Grove community, we've watched Escambia just go into the cellar. How hard is it to convince the community to come back and look at what things are going on at Escambia High School?
Well, they're results oriented. They want to see it. So we just work hard each and every day to give them what they want to see: a good football team, a good brand, good character kids.
Well, Coach, you're getting ready to go into. We do want to talk a little football. You're getting ready to go into your spring practice coming up, and how's the numbers look? How's the turnout? What's the scuttlebutt in the school, or the kids excited about this year? And what will we see when you guys go up against Crestview, do you think?
It's generating a lot of buzz. Kids are definitely excited. They want to see what we're about, and numbers are up. We just want to make sure everybody's getting their grades, everybody's eligible, and we just want to work on it. So
what you're telling me is Escambia has become a grades first football school?
Yes, sir.
Now, guys, you know, you hear all the stuff where, you know, Escambia is a football school. Escambia, it's just about football. But with this coaching staff, it's not. Well, they want to get these kids ready for college. They want to get these kids ready to do what they need to do. And it starts at the top with Coach Spears, and it's trickled down to each one of you guys. How did he manage to find such a great group of coaches with the same moral background of Coach Spears?
Well, it's amazing. If you look at the coaches that we're from all over the place. From Panama City, I'm from Tallahassee. You got some coaches from the Central Florida area. We're spread out, but we all stand for the same thing. It's amazing how we all linked up and got together.
Well, let's talk something too. FC, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. If I touch on FCA every weekend, every week when we do the show, to me, it's that important. And for you personally, how important is the FCA in a program? I mean, just your opinion about it.
It's everything. I try to put God first in everything I do, and it gives you something to play for. It gives you extra incentive to go out hard and glorify Him with your efforts and what you do. And we try to get the kids to do the same thing. So when they buy in, it'll something they can take away from high school and go with them for the rest of their life everywhere they go.
Now, Coach, let's talk about your group of kids. The kids that you coach day in and day out. How many returning seniors are you going to have? What's your group going to look like on your side of the football?
Well, it's going to be a new group for me. We ran a 3-4, but it adjusted to a 4-3 toward the end of the year. I lost 3 starters, so it's a new group. It's a new challenge, and I'm excited about it, but got some great kids. Now,
raw talent-wise, how does everybody look coming in as far as their skill level and their skill sets? When you lose 3 seniors, obviously those are holes that have to be filled. And how's your underclassmen look coming up to fill those holes?
I think the potential is a little bit greater. They don't have the experience, but they're bigger, stronger, a little bit faster. We just got to get them up to speed experience-wise.
Now, with the game against Crestview, is going to be a golden opportunity for you to get these guys in and get them, game speed. And you talk about game speed, and people don't realize, even from junior varsity to varsity, the game changes dramatically. And if you would explain that in what these kids are going to be looking at, because not only does the game speed change, but the skill set changes, the ability for the offenses and defenses to read plays, all that changes. Explain how difficult that is and how much work it is for one of these younger underclassmen to come in and catch on.
It's difficult because the age range is different. Kids lift each and every year, so each year they're getting stronger, and the game gets faster. The earlier you get, the more you go up, the faster the game gets. So you got to catch up with the speed. You got to get bigger, stronger, and faster every year. So it's a challenge. You don't get better. It's a phrase. You don't stay the same. You either get better, or you get worse. So it's a task every year to get bigger, stronger, and faster.
Well, one of the things that, if you've ever been on a football practice field, one of the things you notice is you always hear the coaches hooting and hollering, they're yelling, they're cussing, they're in the kid's face, but not at Escambia. Explain to me how you guys are able to be as successful as you are, really reinventing the way football is being coached.
Like I said before, we're men of standard. We're not going to cuss at you. We're going to treat you with respect. We're going to give you everything we got, and we're going to expect you to give you everything that you have. So it catches on, we treat them as men. We want you to hold yourself as men, and we're gonna hold you to that standard, and you're going to give us everything we got because we're giving you the same thing.
Now, let's talk about off the field, because the Escambia Gator standard, it doesn't stop on the football field. You guys expect it to carry on in any and everything these athletes are doing. You expect them to carry that higher standard in going to the mall, hanging out with their boys, cruising town. I mean, they're wearing not just a logo, but they're wearing a way of life. And how difficult is it to get 16, 17, 15-year-old kids to buy into that outside of the program?
It's extremely difficult. I look at the first couple years I started coaching, and when it was all football, the kids were going straight. And so I said I need to change up what I'm doing, and we need to teach life skills, because I'm a firm believer it's easier to teach a man than it is a boy. And so we teach them how to be men, and that translates off the field as well.
Now, policies that are in place, let's say one of the young men go out and they get in trouble off field. Does that affect their ability to play for Escambia now? Or do you guys just shrug it off and say, you made a mistake? Or do you look at it and you judge them on a case-by-case basis? But, is there consequences for off-field activity as well as on-field?
It's definitely everybody's going to be held accountable. It's different cases because everybody's different, everybody's situation is different, and we're going to handle it according to that. But there's consequences to everything you do, and we want to make sure that they're aware of that.
Well, Coach, if you've been away from Escambia a long time, and let's say you're cruising the net and you run across the Chomp, and Coach Mosley, you're sitting here talking to us, if there's one thing you want to tell a parent that may be on the fence between sending their child to, say, West Florida, which is an academy school, so they could get accepted, what would be your message to that parent why that child should come to Escambia versus somewhere else?
We're going to prepare your kids for college, and we're going to prepare your kids for life. We're going to teach your kids how to be men, how to be respectful, how to be great in the community, great in the classroom, and great on the field. I don't know if any school can offer you that, but we can offer you that.
Well, and you say prepare your kids for college, and that's not something you take lightly. This year you guys put, 4 or 5 kids in college?
7.
7 kids. I mean, did any other school in the area put 7 kids into college this year that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, if you watch Escambia over the last 7-8 years, don't give up on it. Come give them another chance. Come out and watch what's going on. If you're a community leader and you want to get involved with a program that is definitely trying to do something right, call the coaching staff and say, hey, how can I help you carry on your message? We don't want people to think that we're going to come on the show every week and ask for sponsorships or things like that. But if you're looking, why not look at a program that is starting over right? And we all know that each and every program needs it. But Coach, it's proven here that with what you guys did last year, if you had your eyes closed last year and you happened to miss Coach cleaning house, that was the hardest decision I think any coaching staff's ever had to make. You're taking half your team and saying we're going to win without you guys because you don't want to do it the right way. What was that boardroom like, that meeting room like, when you guys had to go through and look at that chalkboard and start cutting off and saying this kid's just not right for the program anymore?
Well, we started from a roster with 70 kids and we ended up playing with about 32. That was extremely difficult, but we said, yes, we can use these guys, we can play them, and we can be successful, but we want something that's going to last, something that can be eternal. We want to teach them life lessons that you can't not take care of the classroom and still get rewarded. We want to let them know that you have to be accountable. Everything you do, you have to be great in all things. You have to be a great student. You have to be all these things. And so it hurt, but I think in the long run, they learned their lessons. Kids who made mistakes, they learn from their mistakes. And we let them know that this is what we expect. And I don't think we're going to have that same issue ever again.
When you guys did that, and I asked Coach Spears this last week, but, you get different opinions from different coaches. When you did that last year, did you, in a million years, think that you would have the results that you got? The kids you put out there, half of them weren't ready. But yet every single week they played above their heads, and put games together they shouldn't put together. A game against Pace is one that sticks out in my mind. A game against Milton, where Milton was a predominant powerhouse all year, and they only lost by 8 points. I mean, they hung in games they should have just got blown out of. And when you don't have that depth on the sideline, your kids have to dig deep, and then it becomes all heart. How are you able to get that heart out of these players? Because, you're talking about kids that were a year, some of them 2 years away from being ready for varsity.
It was building the foundation. We knew the guys that were buying in, and we knew the guys that were on the fence. And we had to make a statement in order to get everybody to buy in. And the results were positive. What
about the school? When you went to your principal and you said, Mr. Sherrill, right? You went up to Principal Sherrill and said, Principal Sherrill, I want to cut 45 kids and roll out with Class A1 Royal School numbers. What did Principal say to you? You're nuts, or what was his comments?
Good luck. You're either insane or you're a genius. So I hope you know what you're doing.
Well, we're going to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, we're going to come back with a surprise guest because we don't even know who it's going to be yet. But the coaching staff here guaranteed me they'd send us somebody else. But we're going to get some footage of the first annual Trent Richardson Weightlifting Invitational. And we want to thank Coach Mosley for joining us this morning. And we'll be back after this break from G&M Land Pros, who came on board to sponsor us for this edition of the Chomp. Joining us is Trent Richardson, former running back at Escambia High School, now running back for the Cleveland Browns. Hey Trent, what keeps you coming back to Escambia and keep doing things for the high school where most other athletes, once they graduate and go on, we usually don't hear from them anymore?
This is where my roots started, so I always going to come back and make sure I get to where I'm grounded and make sure I'm working hard, and so I never forget where I come from. So this is one place that's very special for me, especially just being Motor Grove Baptist Church, because I used to come to FCA here a lot. And, this is another place where God always kept me and had my faith in before every game.
Well, you mentioned the FCA, and Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a huge part of most programs. And how important do you feel Fellowship of Christian Athletes is to the Gator program with them moving forward and trying to basically come through a rebirth in football?
Well, it's big because FCA, even with Escambia football, it's a big rebuilding year for them. They helping out much as they can. They trying to donate and get stuff built, for the football team, for all the sports around Escambia. So it's very big for Escambia. It's very big for FCA. We're trying to get as much as we can out there for them, and help them with different events for them, and try to get as much speakers as we can to come talk to the kids. We used to have speakers come in when I was here. I was just in school 5 years ago, so to have a guy like me to come back and talk or do something with FCA, it is big.
Well, Trent, let me ask you, you're now with Cleveland, you're in the NFL, everything seems to be pointing straight up for you. What's the outlook at Cleveland for next year through your eyes? What do you see the Browns and where they're going to finish up possibly? Or, you have what I feel is a pretty good quarterback in Brandon Whedon, and we know what you can do with the ball. What about the rest of the building blocks that makes the Browns a complete team?
You know what, man? Just starting with our quarterback. He's a great quarterback. And with our offensive line, I think our offensive line is going to be more powerful and just our game speed, me and Brandon's. I think our receiving core is going to be pretty strong with Josh Cribbs, with Jordan, with Gordon, with all them guys, man, Travis Benjamin. I think they're going to be pretty strong, man, and I think them guys that, that's been there in the past, really starting to get the meaning of we need to win. We need our program to go uphill because the fact is we don't want to be that team that everybody talk about, this is just Cleveland. And, our defense is always going to be strong. Defense is always to hold people and to 14 to 20 points in a game. And offense, you got to put up points. So with us just accommodating to everything, man, I think we're going to be pretty good, pretty solid next year. I think we'll be in the playoffs next year.
Well, I don't know if you had a chance to ever listen to our show or not, but I stuck with the Browns all year this year, and I picked them week in and week out, primarily because of you and Brandon Whedon. I thought that with that combination, you guys would be pretty dangerous on offense. I'm excited to hear that you feel the Browns will be good next year. One of the things that when you come out to Escambia, it's just changing speeds a little bit. You come to Escambia, and everybody talks about getting to play on Emmitt Smith Field and getting to play on this and that. Do you, when you were a player there, did you ever in the back of your mind just think, I can change the name of this field real easily? Did you, because you put up some impressive numbers?
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, But, you know, it's always been in the back of my head that I want to change this field to my name. Or I want to make sure that my tombstone is right by Emmitt Smith. Or I want to make sure that the sign outside of Scamby High School say home with Trent Richardson. But, you know, that stuff like that, it should be like that for every athlete, for every person to do any type of thing with sports or, you know, just being, you know, just a person, a human. I mean, so my goals was to make this field mine or to make sure this weight room was mine. You know, no matter what it was. When I went up in the building, I was trying to lift the most weights as I can. But, so that's always been in my mind.
Well, Trent, for those players mainly who may not have been able to make the banquet and the meeting this morning, and to hear what you had to say, and to just feel the speech, because the speech was not, you could tell it was something that came from the heart, and it was something that it meant a lot to Trent Richardson. What would you like to just tell the players that are out there every day doing the grind and doing the work and putting the work in? What would you just like to tell them, you know, to keep in the back of their mind?
To never give up. Don't ever let nobody tell you can't do anything. And for me, I always felt like if you tell me I can't do this, I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna go ahead and do it, no matter what. And never give up on your dream, because your dream is something that you have as a goal, as inspiration, as where you want to be in life. For me, I always set my dream and goals high. And so I write down 5 things every year where I want to be at. If it's want to be a better father, or if it's want to rush for 2,000 yards, or have this many touchdowns, it's something that I want to do that's going to be very high. If I meet half of my goal, I'll be a successful person.
Well, Trent, I want to thank you very much for taking time. I know you've got a busy schedule, and in the off season, I know it's rest as much as you can. But I want to thank you for taking a few minutes with the Chomp, and we look forward to having you back next year.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
And that's going to be Trent Richardson at the first annual, I take it, Trent Richardson Breakfast Banquet and Weightlifting Invitational.